What's up, good people? It's your boy, Leroy McKenzie Jr. And I thought about going live with this one, but I wanted to put the picture to go along with what I'm going to be talking about today and this week. What I want folks to be focused on, what I want them to be thinking about this week is shifting. Um, like I've said, we're in the middle of this shift that we got going on. Um, with the COVID 19. And I want people to understand what a shift is, how you handle a shift, and then how you should be shifting um, your mindset, shifting your business, shifting your business, your brand, like I said, your mindset, your relationships, and understanding those things that are going on in and around you. Interesting enough, I was watching the 30 for 30, the docu series, The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and I thought that one of the things that I paid attention to, really, in spite of all of the other accolades and things that they were talking about, him being on the basketball court and those things, but I was looking at um, his dress, what he was wearing, and I noticed and I really liked the suits that he was wearing. Um, because most of the time that they showed him on this docu series, he was very well dressed. That has always been something that I've liked about him. Whenever you see a lot of the pictures of him, or that you see him like the behind the scenes and stuff like that, or even coming into games before he came into games, he's always impeccably dressed. I mean, the suit, shirt, tie is always, I mean, dapper. That's how you go to work. Is what they say. That's how you go to work. And fellas ain't gonna like what I'm gonna have to say here. I mean, but there are some folks that don't like to necessarily dress up. I think that there should always be a place that you go to be able to dress up at least once a month. You should have at least a couple of suits in your wardrobe that you dress up for. But anyway, I'm not going to get on that tangent. But what I wanted to talk about was shifting. Michael Jordan, when he came into the league, he shifted a culture, and he shifted that culture with just one particular thing, with tennis shoes. They created a whole marketing campaign around him to be able to go after a particular target market, and they didn't, I don't know if they didn't necessarily think that they were going to sell as well as they did there, when they first came out, the Air Jordans, when they came out. But what they found was people, for whatever reason, connected to the marketing campaign. They connected to the image of Michael Jordan. They connected to the message of Michael Jordan. They connected to the movement that they put out there for him to be like Mike. Everyone wants to be like Mike. They show the pictures in the commercial with the guys, with the young kids, the young boys playing basketball, and they got the tongue hung out and all of those things, of creating this image and this shifting of the people's way of thinking, that you can be like Mike, that everybody wants to be like him. And so I started thinking, I'm like, wow. I'm like, he went on to do these great things in the basketball realm. I said, and since he was so impeccably dressed, I put the question, well, why? I'm wondering why he never came out with his own suit line. Magic Johnson did it, and there might have been one or two other athletes that did it as well too. But he's the one. Magic Johnson comes to mind to me because of, he actually had a suit, tie, just a whole accessory, uh, apparel line that he actually came out, was very successful. Um, Suits were very the quality suits, because they were Super 120s, and anybody that's in fashion understands that the Super 120s are very very good quality suits. They're very good quality suits. And there have been other athletes. They've been on the entertainers. I'll say entertainers representative come out. Sean John, of course, Fubu had theirs. Diddy with Sean John. Russell Simmons with Fat Farm. These suits that came from our culture. They were part of our culture. Um, and I thought that Michael Jordan would have been done well as well with that piece. And so I put it out there. I put it out there, I think either last night or this morning. And I was surprised at the mindset that a lot of people, with their responses, and people, when it comes to, when I talk about chess versus checkers, and it comes to shifting mindsets. And I asked this question. I said, what would our culture look like? What would our community look like if, in addition to the Air Jordans that they have, and you'll see the picture that I have along with this, is Michael in this, I mean, black pinstripe suit that is just fire. I think it is fire, and he's holding his black Air Jordans. Now, mind you, he could wear the Air Jordans with that suit, and I think everybody will be cool with it. But I was thinking, what could he have? What would our culture look like had, in addition to those Air Jordans, there was also the brand Jordan suit collection, because that's what the title would have been to me if I'm a marketing if I'm a marketing firm, and I'm trying to pitch to Michael Jordan. It's not necessarily the Air Jordan with the tennis shoe, because he's already has that and he's created that, but it's about the brand Jordan, and it's going from the athlete to now being the businessman. And those of us that are in business, that are entrepreneurs, you have to understand that there's a rebranding that you may have to do sometimes. There's a shift that you have to do. With us being the way that we are now and the circumstances that we're in, there are a lot of people that may be shifting. If you're an entrepreneur, you may be shifting the products that you have, the services that you offer. You may go from what you used to offer to offering something different. So now you have to have a shift in the mindset of the brand, of your brand, and how do you bring that product, that new service that you're bringing out to people, into the marketplace, and understanding who that market is. No, the same market that Air Jordan has may not be totally the same market that the brand Jordan suit collection would have. Why? Because it's two different totally mindsets. Now that he's the owner, majority owner of an NBA team, there has to be a new way of thinking, a new way of branding Jordan. Magic Johnson did it perfectly. That's why I think he's not only the greatest NBA basketball player, other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I just kind of put him by himself, because he's just the GOAT. He's what you call, to me, the quintessential basketball player. He's won on every single level that he's played on. He won in high school, he won in college, and he won in the NBA, and is the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. That in and of itself right there says it to me. So, but Magic Johnson did it. He shifted from being Magic to now where he is Irving Johnson, the businessman, not Magic Johnson, Showtime, but he's Irving Johnson, the businessman. And he's talked about that image and shifting his brand from the basketball player, the athlete, to being now the businessman. And I was saying Michael Jordan could have, and I think he may still be able to do it, but it's just not doesn't look like it's something that he wants to do. And that may be fine, but folks are like that. So um that's cool. But there's a shifting in that you have to do and understand as an entrepreneur, as a business person, and that's what we're talking about today. We'll talk about the shift, because this is part of the boss life, understanding what a boss is: building, organizing, shifting, and sacrificing. I'll get to the sacrificing next week, dealing with the Last Dance, and what sacrifices you make being a boss, what sacrifices you make when you want to be the greatest in anything of all times. So, but today we're talking about shifting. How do you shift your brand? How do you shift your business Some people want to call it pivot, but I like to call it a shift, because there's the shift that's going on, and how do you handle that shift, and how do you navigate through that shift? That's one of the things that we'll talk about, or I'll give you the things that you have to understand about those shifts that go on. But with your business, you want to understand the shift, and you have to understand what you need to do in order to be able to navigate through the shift. And the first thing that you have to understand about a shift is you have to recognize it. You have to recognize, wow, there needs to be an adjustment in the way that I am approaching something. Like I said, we've gone from actually doing the face-to-face meetings to now where everything is virtual. Everything that we do, any kind of conferences, expos, meetups, all of those things are virtual. So you have to be able to make that adjustment, make that shift to be able to doing that way. You have to see the shift. You have to be able to adapt to that shift. And when you can adapt, those who adapt will survive. Those who are not able to adapt, unfortunately, may not be able to make it through the shift. And we want to make it so that you are able to. That's why I'm here today, to give you some tips on how to be able to adjust and be able to make it through the shift. So the second thing is being to not just accept the shift, but also I'll say the first thing is accept the shift. The second thing is to adapt. How do you adapt? Like I mentioned, that means saying, wow, okay, is this particular product and service still working? If it is, yes, then you keep doing that. And then what you may also be able to do in adapting, you say, wow, what other products and services can I add to what I'm doing? And that's what I'm saying that Michael Jordan could have done, should have done to me. If I'm his management team, if I'm one of his, confidants in that circle of impact, and maybe that's why I'm not. But my suggestion would have been, wow, Michael, wouldn't it be a great idea for you to be able to add to the brand Jordan collection? Just, I mean, you call it the brand Jordan collection, and it's a line of suits that caters to the businessman, the businesswoman. You can even, I don't know if he would be able to do the woman's line, but certainly a men's line, suit line that would cater to the businessmen, and the cultural shift that would have created, certainly back then, but the cultural and community shift that it could have caused now. But that's not him. But I'm still saying that could be. Hopefully, I'm just using this as an example for everyone to be able to understand and be able to do, to be able to get the picture of what can be done and what you can do to be able to adjust, to be able to accept, and then second, adapt to the shift that you need to make with your business. You have to be able to do that. Michael Jordan's in a position where he doesn't need to. Maybe a little bit more now because of the hit that everybody's taking, but but that leaves him to be able to do. So the first thing is to accept it. Second thing is to adapt to it, and then the third thing is to adjust. How do you adjust to the shift? How do you adjust to being able to have a certain product and service that you've been doing, been working, and all of a sudden now you have to do it in a different way, or you have to come up with another way of being able to do it. And I always believe that as a business, as an entrepreneur, your mission should stay the same, but the way that you accomplish the mission can change, has to change. You have to be adjustable, in being able to get what it is that you want to get done, accomplished. It's just like anything else. And when you can recognize that, and the faster we recognize that, being able to do that, then we're able to get through what we need to get through. And with this COVID-19, same thing. The faster that we're able to adjust to it and be able to understand what we need to do as entrepreneurs, as business owners, going from the face to faces, traveling all the time, to now all of a sudden where we're home, we can focus a little bit more on the structural uh, things that our business should be about, or those products and services that we can now have, even more online presence, having even a more online social media presence, all of those things that we can do, some things that we can do different. And like I said, the have the products and services offered on the different platforms. What different platforms can we use now? Because the traveling platform isn't going to work because you're not going here, you're not going there, you're not speaking here, you're not speaking there. To all of a sudden now, uh, the speaking is done virtually, so you have to kind of push people to your website. You got to push people to those online places that you're going to be, or even something like this where you're doing, where you may be doing lives, you may be doing virtual events that you are a part of, to be able to understand it, but still creating products, creating services, creating content that people can still know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. But I thought it was interesting, just the kickback that I've been getting, and I guess that's the difference between what I call the front of the having the back of the check versus the front of the check. Way of thinking, 21st century way of thinking. I call it the back of the check mindset versus the front of the check lifestyle. And it's just a matter of understanding, playing chess, not checkers. But it's a mindset where you understand the multiple streams of income. Now I know Michael Jordan has multiple streams of income, so he probably didn't need another stream of income, and that probably could be why he hadn't had that thought. And maybe somebody brought the thought to him, and he just didn't want it. So, those are things. I mean, and I'm quite sure somebody talked to Magic Johnson about doing what he does with the Magic Johnson suit line. And he said, wow, that's something that I can do because he dresses nice. Magic dresses just as nice as Michael. And they both were always impeccably dressed as businessmen. And that's what the image that I'm thinking about. Businessmen, black, and specifically black businessmen. Yeah, they were athletes and that gave them a platform, but now they are businessmen, and the image that creates for the culture, the image that creates for the community. That's what I think guys like Puffy saw when he created Sean John. That's what Fubu saw when they created their men's fashion line, the suit line, which they wound up selling it, which is unfortunate. And then Russell Simmons doing the same thing with Fat Farm. So you had all of these professional looking professional fashion that I think that needs to be pushed more. And it's gotten the culture's, I didn't say the culture's changed, but the professionalism has changed, and that may have a lot to do with some things as well. But I think that we need to get back to having that professionalism pushed, and there are those of us who need to make that a priority and pushing it out there, and making that shift, because that's how you shift the culture. That's how you shift a business. Understanding those little intricacies like that, that will add another stream of income to you, that will add some the way that you're able to maneuver, and add additional target markets to your brand. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what I hope that this creates. So I hope I've given you some knowledge, some information that allows you to be able to understand these three things: the acceptance of a shift, the adaptation to a shift, and then the adjustment within a shift. Understanding those three aspects of a shift and how it's going on. And this week, working on what is your shift. What is your shift? Now I'll put it like that. What is your shift? And then how are you going to navigate through that shift? Talk about what you need to accept, what you need to adapt to, and then what you need to adjust. Those are the three things that you want to be working on this week. How do you handle your shift? How to handle your shift. It's your boy. Y'all know what it is. It's 2020. We going hard. We going hard in the paint this year. I know the COVID-19 has been a shift that's going on, but we're going to get to the other side of this shift. And the only way that we get to the other side of this shift is by accepting it, by adapting to it, and by adjusting to it. So, 2020, fast and furious, move with purpose and passion. And as I always say, chase the impact, because when you chase the impact, you change the world. Let's go change the world. Talk to you soon.